Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and we're back for another Fabric Fridays. All right. And I'm going to show you in this one, we're doing a little differently in Fabric Fridays. I kind of scaled back because we were getting 40-minute videos, right? Trying to cover all the different issues that show up on the r/Microsoft Reddit subreddit, right? So scaling that back, just trying to cover, I think I've got 10 of them here. And I'm also got the end of this, I'm going to show you why fabric ontologies are the bomb. All right. So now, one of the things that helped me streamline this is this individual right here, MonkeyDDataHQ. Right. So anytime I found that if I just go to his page, and then anytime that he has like kind of a snarky comment on the r/Microsoft Fabric, it's probably worth including in the Fabric Fridays, right? So in honor of MonkeyDDataHQ, right, I'll stop sharing here for a second, and I've got my one-piece T-shirt that I picked up in Japan, right? So it's got the Pirate Hunter Roanoa Zoro, right? You got anybody knows that who that is, right? So very cool. So very cool. All right. So let me get back in my seat here, and we'll get the sharing back set up, and we'll get into this. All right, so the first one is Azure Key Vault Network Security Parameter Enabled Firewall for Fabric. Basically, it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is resource instance rules don't work with network security perimeter either. So, and there's MonkeyDDataHQ. Surprising? No. Fabric as designed, another half-implemented feature. Right, so there you go. That's what we're starting off with. Increased CU consumption warehouse queries. This one is interesting. So a customer noticed that all of a sudden their charged rate was 2 to 3 times what it had been before in terms of CUs. So, you do a fabric capacity, right? And maybe a reservation, right? You're paying, but if you're doing pay as you go, all of a sudden you're using 2 to 3 times more CUs than you were previously. And it turns out that Microsoft basically changed how fabric accrual for data warehouse, how CU accrual for data warehouses work. They sent out a nice letter about it. Fabric Data Warehouse is updating how it accrues capacity units. This one is the best comment here. Thanks. With other words, we make it more expensive and throw some black box words to it so no one understands it 100%. Pretty much. So here's what you get with Fabric. With Fabric, Microsoft can change like how much you have to pay anytime they want to, and they do it, right? Versus something that's actually predictable, a predictable expense. So all of you guys that signed up for Fabric, right, and expecting to have these rules for how CUs actually are utilized and accrued, right? Microsoft just changed it, and now you're spending 2 to 3 times more on it. There you go. That's Microsoft for you. All right, SQL Server mirroring changes aren't picked up by Fabric. Nobody knows why, but apparently it's not being picked up. Doesn't work. And then this is just one that I threw in here just to get to a nice round 10 number. There's a crap ton of these kinds that I've just kind of left off. There's just, again, it'd be a 40-minute video if I didn't. So this one's a great one. Access to see all Fabric connections and take admin ownership of existing connections. So basically, in a nutshell, when you go through this, if a user leaves, right, the organization, all of their connections become useless, and you can't take ownership of them. They're just GUIDs. You can't even figure out what connections they actually connected to. So there's a big long thread discussing that, and there you go, MonkeyDDataHQ. There you go. There you go. That is exactly, if you're dealing with this problem, this is how you feel right now. So, and he's got to go explain it to a bunch of his customers. So there goes your SOX compliance and everything else. So it's just nobody's serious. I don't feel like anybody like that's actually serious about their data engineering and data platform could possibly be using Fabric, right? It just the ridiculousness of it. It's crazy to me. GitHub integration hitting limit on one item. The explanation for this is that Microsoft Fabric doesn't implement Git properly. They don't allow Git ignore. So therefore, they have some jar files in there, and that doesn't work and blows up and stuff. And they can't fix it because Microsoft Fabric doesn't properly implement Git. So there you go. Even though they don't they own Git? Opinion 7 months later, I'm still not convinced by DBT jobs and nervous about Fabric's product direction. Okay, this is a fantastic post by Crakey. And it gets to the heart, in my opinion. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this one. It gets to the heart of why Microsoft Fabric is such a mess today, in my opinion. And he touches on it in here. I think he's got the inkling of why. I'm going to explain exactly why. So what he's talking about are DBT job. So basically, to run DBT in Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft has come up with this thing called DBT job, right? That basically dumbs down running, creating a DBT, right? Running DBT, but it comes with a whole host of restrictions and lack of configuration and all kinds of other things, right? Because it's meant to be a dumbed down version of DBT job, right? Versus like the data engineer, what he's talking about here is like, I just run it as DBT core Python within my notebook, and away you go, right? And it seems a little hacky to do it that way, but it works way better, right? So, and I think this gets to the heart of Microsoft. Number one, they're trying to create things, artifacts in Fabric that for a persona that doesn't exist. Okay, that is number one problem, right? They somehow have this concept that there's these business users out there that are like, what I really need is a lake house. Right? It's the most ridiculous thing. Now this worked with Power BI, right? And that's the other thing. Like, so they're creating these artifacts for this persona that doesn't exist while ignoring the persona that's actually using Microsoft Fabric. Okay, and that's basically at the heart of what he's complaining about. But it goes a little deeper than that, in my opinion. Like, for example, when Power BI came out, it was targeted to a very specific persona, right? Very specific business user persona that had a problem, such as I have an Excel file that comes in every week. I have to screw around with it and do some aggregation, some pivoting, pivot tables, whatever it is, and create a report off of it, right? Very targeted, specific persona that actually exists in the enterprise or in business, in organizations, right? And Microsoft was specifically targeting that persona with Power BI, and it worked, right? That persona was like, this is a great tool. This solves an immediate business problem that I have. All right. I don't believe there is a business user out there that is like, oh yeah, Lakehouse solves a business problem that I have today, right? It doesn't, that persona does not exist. Number one. Number two, there was a specific process, an easily understood specific business process that a business user could do in order to make Power BI provide business value, right? So it's basically point it to a data source, import that table, right? And then generate visuals. That was it. That's all a business user needed to do, right? In I would say probably 40 or 50% or more of data models, semantic models out in the Power BI service are just single table data models. So they didn't even have to understand anything about even necessarily data transformation using Power Query or how to build relationships in a semantic model or anything else. They could solve their business problem by that simple business process flow, right? And that was really the only thing they needed to know or even understand about the product. There weren't like 70 different options for doing everything. There was basically one workflow, right? And of course, right, later on, and yes, direct query exists and all of that other thing. Then later on, we got hybrid tables and became way more complicated, right? Yes, all of that occurred, but that core like workflow and that core persona, that is the heart of Power BI, right? And it's always supported that model. More complexity got added later, but most people ignored it, right? And in fact, I would say that the last 3 years really were all focused on the more data engineering IT kind of focused at the expense of those business users. But there had already been enough goodwill kind of created in terms of Power BI and all of that, and momentum and inertia, right? Now that they're swinging back to the business, user side, right? It's a lot of people griped in those 3 years, myself included, but that was the thinking there. So that is the problem that in Microsoft Fabric, there is no just one use case that is like universal and like millions of business users need, right? There aren't millions of business users. Like anytime that a business user is like, oh, do I do a warehouse or do I use a lake house? I have never not once heard a business user, an actual business user, ask that question, right? That persona does not exist. And then if they want to do that, right? Well, what do I use? Do I use a pipeline? Do I use a data flow? Do I use a notebook? Oh, I need to learn. Oh boy, I'm just so excited to learn Python as a business user, right? Stupidest thing ever but Microsoft builds these artifacts. They waste time and money and effort on building these stupid things like DBT job that no business user is ever going to use because they're not going to use Fabric, and the data engineers aren't going to use because it's not as flexible and doesn't provide them the control they need. So therefore, they're just wasting development time, and that is why Microsoft Fabric isn't even on par with, doesn't have parity yet with even Azure Synapse yet in terms of feature functionality in a large number of cases, in my opinion. So anyway, I'll get off my high horse. I found this post really interesting. It was Tom Garvin and stuff. We talked a lot about complexity. I didn't really get into that too much here, but it's an interesting discussion for anyone that wants to like peel back the hood on terms of why Fabric is a failure in my opinion, and will be, right. This gets to the heart of it in my opinion. This thread right here and just what I've discussed or whatever. And I could go on forever, but I won't. All right, moving on. Fabric bug direct link reports and refreshes suddenly throw SSAS security error with no RLS found to fix. So basically, they're trying to do a refresh and just out of the blue, one of the times it'll just error out. And then every time they try to do a refresh, it errors out. So the fix, I love the workaround. You can't make this stuff up. All right, open the underlying lakehouse that the semantic model reads from. Run a simple query like select star from table, right? Return to the workspace and trigger the refresh, and now it works. You can't make this stuff up. It's so good. All right, let's see here. Now this one is interesting. So now they've started. They put a little agent in so that anytime that there seems like there's a problem on the with the Fabric service, right? It actually goes and logs it and logs a thread on the r/Reddit, which is really cool. And except it's pretty much all just service outages on the r/Microsoft subreddit these days. But here's one, for example. Fabric customers with tenants located in Europe regions will experience issues. Data agent functionality. Engineers are actively working on the investigation. Now here's what's interesting. August 11th, 2026, 10:05 a.m. UTC. That is when they reported the issue as service degraded. 10:05 a.m. UTC. It has been resolved as of 7 a.m. UTC. Like, wait, what? How is that possible? They resolved it 3 hours before the problem occurred, right? Even though they even put in there the total duration was 185 minutes or about 3 hours, somehow Microsoft was able to fix the issue 3 hours before the issue actually occurred. That is amazing. Microsoft engineers must be the best engineers in the world, that they can fix a problem before it even happens, right? Incredible, right? Unbelievable. But here there's like, so this was posted at 10:05 a.m. As of 5 p.m. UTC, they were still having problems, but then it's fixed at 7 a.m. And there's another example of this, right? So here's another one. Fabric customers in the West US region may experience issues while interacting with Copilot service and accessing MLX Maps, blah, blah, blah. This one is at 4:58 a.m., August 13th, 2026, 4:58 a.m. Now, down here at 3:52 p.m., they're still having problems. 3:56, 2:15, 12:43, 12:14. So the last one that they're having problems is 3:52 p.m., right? And then they've got it fixed at 10 a.m. So Microsoft they're just flat out lying to people. And then this is even 2026-05 customers in Asia and US regions have experienced intermittent failures, right? But somehow it got fixed at 10 a.m. when they're still having problems at 6:05 a.m. or 3:52 p.m. So Microsoft's just flat out lying to their customers in terms of when they actually fix the problems in Microsoft Fabric, right? They're just flat out lying to them, okay? And this proves it, right? I mean, hello, here's 17 hours ago. This is 20 hours ago. And so somehow the problem got fixed before the problem. Amazing. So unbelievable. 10 a.m. UTC versus 3:52 p.m. or 6:05 p.m. Incredible stuff. You can't make this stuff up. Microsoft is flat out lying to people. All right, so then let's get into why Fabric ontologies are the bomb. So this is a semantic model I built off of a Power BI warehouse, right? And it's in direct lake mode. And then you got this cool little generate ontology button here. So we click it. It's like, yeah, get started. Let's build that ontology. Sure, let's do it. And that's why Fabric ontologies are the bomb, because they immediately blow up in your face with an error occurred. Try again. Trust me, I've tried this dozens and dozens of times with trying to put in different words and different things like that. No, it never works. So no, that was not helpful feedback. Microsoft, that was not a useful error message. So that is why Fabric ontologies are the bomb. They just blow up in your face immediately, right? So that's it. That's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.